Right now at noon, remembering former President Jimmy Carter. A look at his legacy and impacts right here in Wisconsin. Plus, one of the deadliest plane crashes in South Korean history. While the country is looking at its air industry to ensure this doesn't happen again. This is News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us on this Monday afternoon. I'm Josh Breiter. First at noon, Jimmy Carter's state funeral in Washington is now scheduled for January 9th. The former president died at the age of 100 this weekend after nearly 2 years on hospice care. Carter was the 39th president of the U.S. and served from 1977 to 1981. On his second day in office, Carter pardoned all Vietnam War draft evaders. Carter's presidency was marked by the U.S. energy crisis, the Iran hostage crisis, and his efforts to end nuclear testing in the United States and the Soviet Union. People are remembering Jimmy Carter and his work for Habitat for Humanity and his work with the organization bringing him right here to Dane County. One volunteer, Dee Wiley, worked alongside the 39th president for 2 projects. In this case, they built homes in Haiti after the devastating earthquake there in 2010. Wiley says after each home was built, he congratulated every family and gave them each a Haitian Bible. Habitat for Humanity says Jimmy and his wife worked with over 104,000 volunteers in 14 countries. Together, they built over 4,000 homes. Governor Evers has ordered flags to fly at half-staff in honor of the former president. Well, enjoy the mild temps while you can. We have snow and cold to talk about. First Warn meteorologist Blaze Keller has a look at your certified most accurate forecast. Pretty nice day on the weather patio so far.
At least here, yeah, you wouldn't know it, but just 2 hours south of the studio, that dense fog is still sticking around. The dense fog advisory will be allowed to expire for a handful of counties here at the top of the hour, but the actual dense fog advisory has been extended along the Mississippi River. So folks in Vernon, Grant, Crawford County, Richland County, Juneau, Adams, that has been extended through midnight tonight, so we're not getting rid of this fog anytime soon. In fact, there's a look at some of the densest fog out there. We're still seeing a pocket of about a quarter-mile visibility or less in Monroe. No visibility still Mineral Point south and west into Platteville. And again, we still find some of that dense fog up into the La Crosse area back into Camp Douglas too. Over the next 12 hours, we are going to continue to kind of teeter right around 40 degrees, give or take, with increasing cloud cover. Temperatures then cool as we go overnight. We could squeeze out a few light snow showers, and that would be farther south and west as our next system starts to move on out of the Dakotas and move into the Midwest. Upper 30s to low 40s today. Some fog obviously is going to be sticking with us throughout the day, but temperatures aren't going to be too bad. Mild for this time of year, about 10 or so degrees above average. As you mentioned, Josh, we are expecting some snow showers and a big cool down that could actually be prolonged as we go into the start of January. We're going to break down the science behind why we could stay cool for as long as we could in the full forecast.
Yeah, we're going to be dreaming for 40 at the end of
No kidding. This is going to be nice.
All right, Blaze. Thank you. Well, right now, one person is dead after a driver ran through a stop sign in the town of Janesville this morning. According to the Rock County Sheriff's Office, a 58-year-old Sussex man was driving north on County Highway H when he went through the stop sign at County A. A 19-year-old driver from Janesville then struck his vehicle. The 58-year-old man died at a nearby hospital. The 19-year-old is reported to have non-life-threatening injuries. This afternoon, Madison police say a man is in custody after pushing a woman to the ground and trying to steal her purse. Officers were called Sunday to the DoubleTree by Hilton Madison East. This is near Easttown Mall for an attempted strong arm robbery. A 23-year-old man ran up to a woman, pushed her to the ground, and tried to steal her purse. That man was unsuccessful after a bystander tackled him and got the purse back. Police later found and arrested the 23-year-old for attempted strong-armed robbery, battery to an elderly person, and a warrant out of Sauk County. Turning overseas now, South Korea's president is ordering an emergency safety inspection of the country's entire airline operation. This as investigators work to find the cause and identify the 179 victims of a deadly Boeing 737 crash over the weekend. So far, only 2 people are known to have survived. Investigators are now looking into the possibility of bird strikes, whether any of the aircraft control systems were disabled, or other factors. We'll still head for us this afternoon. If you have a question or concern about your plants or garden, now's the time to send us your questions via email to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will join us later in this broadcast with the answers. Again, that is tips@channel3000.com. Up next for us, a recall alert on some candy, plus all eyes are on the store that sold the single winning ticket for Friday's big $1 billion jackpot.
You're watching News 3 Now at noon.
The winner of Friday's big $1.2 billion Mega Millions drawing hasn't come forward yet. The single winning ticket was sold at this Circle K store in Cottonwood, California. The owner told reporters he's excited for the winner. The store also gets a $1 million bonus for selling the winning ticket. 2 second prize tickets worth more than $787,000 each were also sold in California. Gardner's Candies is recalling 1.25-ounce packages of its cappuccino meltaway bars because they may contain undeclared cashews. This could cause a life-threatening reaction for people with allergies or severe sensitivity to tree nuts. So far, the FDA says no illnesses have been reported. Consumers are urged to contact the company for a replacement product. And Sonic the Hedgehog 3 topped the weekend box office again, bringing in an estimated $38 million domestically. Mufasa the Lion King roared to the number 2 spot, earning just over $37 million. Horror remake Nosferatu was third with more than $21 million. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Courtney Keeley.
Here's your stock report for your Monday. The Dow is down 293 points, NASDAQ down 131, and the S&P 500 also down today about 38 points. AI is helping more and more people learn a new language faster. Memrise is one of the platforms using artificial intelligence to build custom lessons based on their skill level. It can be used to learn enough to order a cup of coffee before a trip or for students who need serious help in class. One way these platforms do this is having AI scan YouTube videos to find real examples of how natives speak their language.
Our data tells us that people are watching more and more and more and more of those videos. And our data tells us that they are practicing conversations with our bots more and more often so that they can get the batting practice they need to have successful conversations.
Memrise has been seeing a big boost since launching AI. Yearly video views are up more than 500%, and they're gaining 15,000 users a day. Right now, preparations for the New Year's Eve party in Times Square are happening. People are writing down their wishes for the coming year on scraps of paper that will be mixed into the confetti. On Sunday, crowds gathered to watch a practice confetti drop. Children could be seen scooping up the confetti in hats and tossing it from the stage. Within minutes, the stage and nearby streets were blanketed in confetti, a preview of what crowds can expect in Times Square tomorrow night. And we'll have someone to root for in the new year. Dennis Beggs of Janesville is about to try something remarkable, taking on the World Marathon Challenge. 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days. He's running in honor of his late mother. The clock starts when the first marathon begins in Antarctica on January 31st. We have today's ag numbers straight ahead, along with the first warn forecast. Then later on Live at 4, Will Loper on this weekend's box office releases. And with the big opening weekend, just 100 years after the original, he'll have that coming up at 4. Pam Bianchi is out of the radio barn on her holiday break, so here are your farm numbers. First, our meteorologist Blaze Keller has your certified most accurate forecast, and we better enjoy the nice quiet weather while we have it, Blaze.
Yeah, and the sunshine as well, unless you like the cold and the sunshine, because we've got a couple of those days in the extended forecast. Right now, we're still dealing with some patchy fog, and some of that is dense with a handful of counties, mainly along the Mississippi River, being underneath that dense fog advisory now through midnight going into your Tuesday. Tonight, mostly cloudy, some light snow possible, and then for your New Year's Eve day, that system maybe brings us some more light snow, but for the most part, we're not going to see a whole lot out of this system as the moisture continues to stay well off to our south. We're looking at later this evening, clouds are going to continue to increase as that low pressure system moves its way through the Midwest. Throughout the daytime hours on your New Year's Eve day, light snow will be possible, but as we go into the midnight time frame ringing in the new year, we should stay mostly cloudy and breezy, and then a series of high pressure systems come on down out of Canada and reinforce the cold air that could be sticking around for quite some time. A little bit of snow tries to make its way back into the picture as we go into Thursday, but I think that's going to be more kind of making a beeline south and eastward, so maybe some light snow across southwestern Wisconsin, but I really wouldn't count on a whole lot in the way of accumulations. This is a look at New Year's Day at about 4:30 in the afternoon. Snow from Tuesday, New Year's Eve day, overnight into early Wednesday. Again, we're looking at maybe a dusting to a half an inch at best. And a lot of this snow is going to fall during the daytime hours, leaving us with more of those quiet conditions as we go into the celebratory time frame. Mostly cloudy, turning partly cloudy the further we go into the new year, and temperatures will be hanging right around 26, 27 degrees. And then we cool on down, and this cool down could be lasting through maybe the middle of January. This is a look over the next 6 to 10 days. We're sitting at about a 70 to 80% chance of cooler than average temperatures, and we continue to sit underneath that same percentage chance as we go over the next 8 to 14 days, taking us up into really the middle of January. The darker the color, the higher the confidence level. So why are we going to stay cooler for possibly the next few weeks? The reason is because a high pressure system off the coast of California is going to be pushing its way northwards, and we're going to watch a series of low pressure systems coming in out of the Pacific. These are going to combine together their southerly winds and push warmer air that is otherwise over the Pacific, where cooler air is right now. So where do we move that cooler air? Well, we're going to take that cooler air and move it across parts of not only the Midwest, but across parts of the United States as well. And then we're going to replace it with that warmer air over parts of Alaska. So our jet stream, this yellow arrows here, that's essentially what it's going to look like. Warmer air is going to be pushed northwards, and that cooler air is going to be forced over us here across the Midwest. And you can see that here. Our temperatures are going to be well below average for this time of year, especially as we go into next week. So that's kind of the science behind why we're going to be so cool, even though it doesn't feel like it right now. 40s today, 30s tomorrow, then we're back into the 20s from Wednesday through about the middle of next week.
I'm just ignoring the end of that 10-day forecast.
Me too.
Thank you, Blaze. Ahead at noon, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here answering your plant and garden questions. Email them to tips@channel3000.com, and we'll get the answers next.
With New Year's right around the corner and all the football get-togethers coming up, we've created a bite-sized appetizer that's a cross between a cheesy cornbread and the best crab cake you've ever tasted. Sounds incredible, huh? Well, it is. To throw this together, all we have to do is combine a box of corn muffin mix with some panko breadcrumbs, a good amount of shredded cheddar cheese, some cream cheese, butter, a beaten egg, milk, sliced scallions, and a few spices. After this is mixed, we stir in some crab meat. You want to do this gently so the chunks of crab don't break up. Now we roll them so they're about the size of a cocktail meatball and fry them until the outside is golden and the center is cooked through. And in case you're wondering if you can make these ahead of time, you can. Simply reheat them on a cookie sheet in the oven. Maybe serve them up with your favorite dipping sauce and let the party begin. To get the recipe for our cheesy crab poppers, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a get the party started way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Now, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company joins us to answer your plant and garden questions. Remember, you can email them to tips@channel3000.com. Happy almost New Year. Just doesn't
I hope you
feel
had a
like
good
it.
Christmas.
Yes,
and
you too.
Then after this is over, I can say see you next year.
See you next year. Yes, it's that we love saying that, right? 2025.
So cheesy.
I know. Everybody does it too. What do we got here on the table?
This is a stephanotis.
All right.
And so you often find the flowers in like bridal bouquets. It's super fragrant, kind of an orange, blossomy kind of fragrance. And it's just a really fun plant to have in the house at this time of year.
I was going to say.
It's fragrant. It
looks very wintry too.
Yes, it does. It's a lovely plant.
And simple.
Yes, and they grow them on hoops because it's a vining plant.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Something new.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've got 4 questions so far. Let's get to Diane first. Diane says she's had this plant for years. When she brings it in for the winter, it does this. And I showed you a picture via email.
Yes, and so it's a split leaf philodendron. And philodendrons in the house do well in a bright but indirect light location, and they also like to be on the dry side. And so I'm wondering if in that big pot, if she's maybe overwatering it.
Oh, okay.
So she should make sure that as she waters it, that between waterings, that she lets it dry out fairly thoroughly between waterings.
Yeah, and folks got to see that picture right there on the
Yes.
screen. So, all right, question number 2. Eric from Janesville asks when and how to test his garden soil to determine if any nutrients or amendments are needed before next growing season. He says he always forgets to ask until everything is planted, and then it's probably too late.
And it's so hard in the spring because you have so many things to do. It's easy to forget those little chores. So I would say you could go ahead and do it in the fall. There are soil test kits that we have at the garden center that you can send to the extension center, and they will break it down and tell you what you need. And then you could try some composting versions of restoring those nutrients over the winter, and then follow that up in the spring with any other kinds of fertilizers.
And then you're ready to go.
And then you're ready to go. Yeah, stop trying to do it in the spring when you're so busy.
Question number 3, Mary Lou asks, we received an amaryllis plant in a wax ball, no opening to water, lots of leaves, no flowers. She's asking how to treat this.
So those amaryllis in the wax balls are not meant to be watered. They are meant to sit in there and they send up the flower spike, and when it's done, it's done. Although I have to say, I did see something on our Facebook page, not our Facebook page, but on Facebook, on the feed this morning about how to chip off the wax. Because if you use them in the wax ball, it's sort of like forcing a paperweight. You really can't save the amaryllis bulb to regrow it the next year. It's sort of a one-time deal. But they are not meant to be watered. Sometimes if they're not sending out a flower spike, I wonder if maybe it wasn't properly cold treated or it didn't have a proper rest period before they actually brought it back out and waxed it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, question number 4 comes from Mark. Mark says his mandevilla loses a lot of leaves this time of year. Any tips to keep it green until spring?
So I'm thinking that when you say at this time of year that you have it outside during the summertime, probably it's not in a space in your house that's high enough light. There are several plants like hibiscus, mandevilla. A lot of people take their ficus outside in the summer to have out on a patio. There is just no place in your house that's high enough light to maintain those kinds of plants. And so what you're going to see is yellowing and dropping leaves. That's really typical. You might need to cut it back a little bit so it doesn't get so leggy, and then once you put it outside, it will recover pretty quickly. Just put it in the brightest, sunniest window that you have.
All right, I think we got about 20 seconds, so
Okay.
we'll get to Karen's question real fast. She asks if your cactus is flowering and some buds fall off before opening, is it possibly they're overwater?
I would say overwatering, or it maybe gets a little cold or it gets too hot.
Okay.
So it's a cactus. Let it dry out.
All right, good questions today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. And
thank you.
We'll see you next year.
See you next year.
Here's Blaze with the final check of your forecast.
And we are going to sit underneath increasing cloud cover today. And a reminder for folks in Vernon County, in Crawford County, Grant County, Juneau, Adams, as well as Richland counties. You guys are underneath a dense fog advisory now through midnight tonight. So that fog is expected to stick around as cloud cover increases. Temperatures, though, staying mild. This is going to be really our last real mild day. Tomorrow, we do cool off just a little bit as we get ready to celebrate 2025, maybe squeezing out some light snow as well during the daytime hours. But as we go into that midnight time frame, we should quiet down as we ring in 2025. And we also ring in a possibly prolonged cool down. 20s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Teens for highs in the upcoming weekend. And then that following work week, if all things pan out, we may be dealing with some of our coldest air so far when we dip into those low teens for high temperatures and lows in the single digits as well. But we do see more chances for snow as well with the cooler air.
All right, Blaze. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.